You're watching the ANEC Sports Podcast on YouTube. The show starts right now. Welcome to episode 11 of the ANEC Sports Podcast. My name is Sam Frick, founder and editor at Around the Northeast Corner, covering 30 schools across Northeast Indiana and parts of Elkhart County. That includes the ACAC, the NECC, and the Northeast 8, giving you a wide range of valid, credible journalism and news across 30 schools that we cover at Around the Northeast Corner. So we are into the first full week of October, which means we are closing in on the regular season for the 2024 fall sports season. Girls golf just completed its season officially. Cross country is entering the postseason with conference tournaments. We'll talk about that in a matter of moments. Girls volleyball will have their sectional selection show tonight at 7 o'clock. So later tonight, I will start recording on the volleyball selection pairings for the ANEC area schools. And then football is only 2 weeks away from the playoffs, which means next Sunday will be the football sectional selection show for that sport. So we're getting close. We're getting very close to the end of the fall sports season. In fact, a little over a week from Tuesday, I believe, will be the first practices, the first official practices for girls basketball for the 2024-2025 season. We'll talk more about that later on. We'll talk about that at a later show. So now, without further ado, let's get to the talk around the corner. And we begin briefly with girls golf as the Cal Lady Barons conclude their magical 2024 season, finishing 14th place in the IHSAA state finals. They have been ranked right around 14th and 16th in all of Indiana all year long. And so the Cal season comes to an end with a magical season, a conference championship, a sectional championship, and coming just shy of winning a regional championship, and then obviously finishing 14th in the entire state. So congratulations to the Cal Lady Barons on an excellent 2024 season, and congratulations to the ADC schools on a successful 2024 campaign. Cross country news. So last Saturday, which was yesterday at the time of this recording, the NECC and the NE8 took center stage for their cross country meets. And we'll start off with the NECC. West Noble sweeps the meets, to which West Noble is able to sweep the competition for the first time in 2 years. The girls three-peat as conference champions. The boys get their revenge after a string of a 2-year run by the Angola Hornets. West Noble boys bring the championship back to Legionnaires. So both Charger teams were successful in claiming the conference meet title, which now they have a combined 40 conference meet championships in the entire history of cross country at West Noble. No one has come close to that. So that just shows you the dominant success of West Noble cross country as we know it. First off, let's begin with the girls. West Noble finished first as a team with 46 points. Trailing just behind West Noble was Prairie Heights with 48, and Prairie Heights did very well individually in this race. Westview finished third at 66. Fairfield had 73, and then from there it was a blowout. Garrett with 121, Busco with 163, Lakeland with 175, and Angola, who's had many years of success in cross country, they fall all the way down to 199. That's 8th place in the meet. And then you had your 3 non-scoring teams, Fremont, Eastside, and Central Noble, to which Eastside, Fremont only had 3 finishers, Central Noble only 1. Individually for the Northeast Corner Conference girls meet, Ashlyn Myers, the senior out of Prairie Heights, won this meet at a time of 19 minutes and 13.63 seconds. Trailing behind her was sophomore Olivia Ritter, her teammate at Prairie Heights, at 19 minutes and 50.74 seconds. Finishing third was Bailey Mans, the junior out of Westview, at 19 minutes and 52.94 seconds. Coming in fourth place was Keisha Fernandez of Prairie Heights, the senior, at 19 minutes and 55.8 seconds. And then lastly, in fifth place, Trinity Parson, the junior out of West Snowball, the conference champions West Snowball, at a time of 33.72 seconds. Maya Emmer, her teammate, was just behind her at sixth, the sophomore at West Snowball. Taking a look at the boys' side, West Snowball edged off Angola in the boys' meet with 68 points. Angola finished second at 74. So their their streak of conference championships comes to an end this season. In a second place finish, Fairfield placed third at 94. Central Noble, a solid fourth place finish at 115, tying Westview. Garrett at 117. Lakeland 153. Busco at 153. Busco 170. Eastside at 224. And then Prairie Heights, the last team scoring in this meet, at 259. Fremont was the only school in this meet that did not score and only had 4 finishers. Individually for the boys' meets, the junior out of Westview, Noah Bontrager, won this tournament pretty easily at 15 minutes and 24.44 seconds. Memphis Martin, the sophomore out of Lakeland, finished second at 16 minutes and 5.8 seconds. Coming in third place is the junior out of Eastside, Andrew Strong, at 16 minutes and 19.90 seconds. In fourth place, the sophomore out of Fairfield, Evan Correll, at 16 minutes and 25.82 seconds. And then in fifth place, the senior out of Angola, Cooper Enyer, at 16 minutes and 40.92 seconds. Sixth place went to Grayson Rutsch, the freshman out of West Snowball, who won this tournament, at 16 minutes and 41.39 seconds. Now let's shift over to the NE8 meets, which Columbia City swept both meets, which for the first time ever for the school, Columbia City wins both the boys and the girls cross country meets, which for Columbia City cross country, it dates all the way back to 50s, 1950s for the boys, 1980s for the girls. Girls win their first conference championship since 1987 as a member of the Northeastern Indiana Athletic Conference. The boys repeat as conference meet champions for the first time ever, to which Columbia City has won the most conference championships in this sport in the history of the NE8. We begin with the girls. Columbia City easily won the girls' meet with 31 points. Norwell placed second at 63. Huntington North, third place at 76. East Snowball, who had won multiple conference championships recently, they fall to fourth at 101. Leo at 116. Bellmont 136. And DeKalb finished last at 187. To which New Haven apparently did not score in this meet. Individually for the girls' race, Kenya Leach of Columbia City, the sophomore for the Columbia City Eagles, finished first at 18 minutes and 12.5 seconds. Rowan Norris of Leo, the sophomore for the Lions, finished second at 18 minutes and 30.8 seconds. In third place went Alex Friesen of Huntington North, the sophomore Viking, finished third at 18 minutes and 40.5 seconds. Samantha Licky of Columbia City finished fourth, the junior, at a time of 19 minutes and 29.3 seconds. Her teammate Rylee Myers placed fifth at 19 minutes and 45.3 seconds. And then East Snowball had Joanna Carpenter in sixth place at 20 minutes and 14.8 seconds. Well represented race for Columbia City. On the boys' side, a little closer on the boys' race, but still a blowout no less, as Columbia City finished first with 48 points. Bellmont scored 79. Norwell 96. East Snowball 100. New Haven 104. And then Leo, DeKalb, and Huntington North was how the rest of the conference played out. Individually, Gavin Good of Columbia City won this meet. The senior Eagle had 15 minutes and 40.3 seconds as his official time. Brian Garcia of New Haven placed second at 50 minutes and 50.4 seconds. That was the junior for the Bulldogs. Daniel Mullen of Columbia City placed third at 16 minutes and 47.8 seconds. Another senior on this Columbia City team. Thomas Brinker Thomas Brinkers is a senior at East Noble. He placed fourth at a time of 16 minutes and 57.4 seconds. Hayden Wittenbarger of Bellmont. Wittenbarger is the junior for the Braves. He placed fifth at 16 minutes and 58.6 seconds. And rounding out sixth place, Gavin Threewitz of Norwell. That's an interesting name. The senior for Norwell had a time of 17 minutes and 1.1 seconds. So Columbia City swept both of the NE8 meets. The ACAC meet is coming up this weekend. The TRC just concluded as well this weekend. Whitco did not score well. I can just say that right now. Hamilton placed second in the Hoosier Plains Conference. Elkhart Christian won that meet on Friday. But the ACAC still has their tournament that they still need to host for the 2024 campaign. Then we get to football. So starting off with the ACAC, Adams Central dominated Southern Wells 55-0. Heritage with an impressive performance over Bluffton 51-20. Braden Walter was one of our nominees for Performer of the Week at Around the Northeast Corner. He had 3 touchdowns, I believe, and over 130 yards rushing, a 13-yard reception. He had 7 tackles, I believe, for Heritage. Eli Taguas completed 87% of his passes. He had another nice performance for Heritage. Lucas Weber, another strong performance for the Patriots in that backfield as well. Bluffton just never got things going in that game against Heritage, and which now sets up a very intriguing matchup against Adams Central. South Adams defeats Shade County 34-14 thanks to a good, strong first half where they opened up a 20-0 lead in this game and never looked back from there. Titus Lehman combined for over 160 yards, combined the passing and the ground game, 3 touchdowns overall. And then Will Patterson had 83 yards rushing on 20-some carries or something like that. And he had a 70 yards off of 2 punt returns for South Adams Starfires. And then Woodland shuts out Prairie Heights 42-0. Drew Fleet, another strong performance with 3 touchdowns for the hot Woodland Warriors. In the NE8, DeKalb dominated Norwell 47-21, one of which saw Xavier Bell setting a new school record for the longest punt return in program history in a single game at 89 yards, I believe. But either way, DeKalb dominated Norwell after a slow start in the first quarter. East Noble jumped out to a 35-0 lead at the half and never looked back from there in a 35-14 win. Rylee Biddle was 6 of 10 for 169 yards and 3 touchdowns. We will talk to Rylee Biddle later on the show, talking about his East Noble Knights and the season they've had up to this point. Jordan Borders had 2 touchdown catches. In fact, he has 3 TD catches on 4 receptions, I believe. So he's been effective when needed. And Dylan Krell had 2 rushing TDs, which now puts him up to 11 on the season. Leo had a scare from Huntington North last Friday, but no less, Leo held on for a 34-20 win over the Vikings, thanks to a 155-yard rushing performance from Nathan Foster, who had a touchdown in this game, and Leo's defense came through when needed most against the Vikings. New Haven finally gets their first win of the season in a 50-9 win over the Bellmont Braves. Bellmont finally gets on the board in terms of touchdowns. They had 1 touchdown in this game by Grady Baker, but New Haven had 3 touchdowns of their own from DJ Simpson, and New Haven finally got their first win of the season and the first one under the Vance Shear era. They got a tall task ahead of them against East Noble. Finally, we look at the NECC. Busco clinches an outright small school division title for the first time since 2018 with a 34-0 win over Central Noble in the Battle of Baseline. Eastside in Lincoln Carter's first game back. Lincoln Carter had combined for about 230-some yards on the ground in the passing game as Eastside defeats Fremont 38-7. Garrett defeats Fairfield 42-12 to clinch at least a share of the Bid School Division title. Parker Skelly had both of his receptions go for touchdowns on 60 yards receiving as Garrett Cruz passed the Falcons. West Noble shuts out Lakeland 35-0. They held Lakeland to just 80 yards of total offense, while Seth Pruitt ran for 280 yards and 4 touchdowns of his own as the Chargers cruised to victory lane. And then yesterday, Angola traveled all the way down to Avon High School to play a neutral site game against winless Owen Valley, and Angola easily won this matchup by the score of 67-13. Angola jumped out to a 54-0 lead at half, which is a new program record for the most points in a single half in the history of Angola football. They also record the third most points in a single game in the history of the Angola Hornets. Angola's got a big matchup coming up against Garrett's. And what I'm going to do this time to kind of shake things up in terms of the podcast is we'll have the upcoming games on a separate post. So hopefully this will shorten up the time and make things a little bit smoother in terms of being able to integrate from the talk around the corner to our interviews. We want to also briefly mention with girls volleyball, South Adams defeated Adams Central on Thursday in 4 sets to clinch an ACAC championship outright, mainly because, number one, the tiebreaker rule in the ACAC determines, based upon the round-robin matchups in the conference play, South Adams had the tiebreaker over Adams Central because of that win on Thursday. But it was also due to the fact that Jay County, who actually had the tiebreaker over South Adams, had they tied South Adams, they would have had the tiebreaker over South Adams, which means Jay County would have clinched the conference championship. However, Heritage had other ideas, and they beat the Jay County Patriots. And so because of that, South Adams was able to override Adams Central due to the tiebreaker rule, and South Adams will win their first outright conference championship since 2016 after failing to, once again, not win their first conference tournament since 2017. Keep in mind, these two teams are in the same sectional, and the draws are going to be shown tonight on IHSAA TV. So we're going to find out where South Adams and Adams Central will be placed. They're sectional because they are in the same sectional, and we may very well see these two teams play each other once again for the third time. This week, Bellmont will have a chance to clinch the conference championship in volleyball. Angola will clinch the conference championship as early as tomorrow night. And Eastside not looking too hot this year, so we expect Angola to get this conference wrapped up tomorrow night. As far as soccer goes, conference championships were wrapped up last week for boys and girls soccer, beginning with the ACAC. Both Jay County teams won the conference championship outright for the first time since Jay County joined the ACAC in 2014. The Patriots sweep the conference in soccer. For the NECC, Westview girls wrapped up the conference with a 1-0 win over Lakeland. And then on the boys' side, West Noble and Westview last Thursday needed penalty kits because nobody scored a single goal through 2 overtime periods and through regulation. And so a penalty kit shootout was needed for a conference championship to be decided. Had Westview won this game, Angola, Westview, and West Noble would have shared the conference. But West Noble prevailed thanks to Christian Rodriguez in goal. The Chargers prevailed in penalty kits to win the conference championship outright. And so West Noble boys, Westview girls win the NECC. And then for the NEA, Bellmont girls repeat as conference champions with a 1-0 win over the Cal Barons. Bellmont was named ANEC co-team of the week alongside the Columbia State cross-country teams. So congratulations to the Bellmont Lady Braves on winning their second straight NEA championship. And then on the boys' side, Leo defeats Columbia City thanks to 2 goals from Mason Pulver in a 4-0 Leo win. So the Lions win their second straight conference championship, this time an outright conference championship for the Leo Lions. Postseason play will begin this week for soccer. And that is going to do it for the talk around the corner. Keep in mind that we will have the upcoming games to watch on a separate post. So it will be kind of a way to shake things up with that. So stay tuned for a separate post regarding the upcoming matchups for this week. And so without further ado, let's get to our interviews for tonight. First, we will begin with the goalkeeper from the Bellmont Lady Braves, Emily Barton, who's been a part of this 12-match winning streak for the Bellmont Lady Braves. Meanwhile, shortly thereafter, we will have the interview with East Snowball quarterback Rylee Biddle for the East Snowball Knights. I'm here with the goalkeeper of the Bellmont girls soccer program, Emily Barton. Emily, good evening. How are things going for you?
Pretty good.
Awesome. Before we talk about this season, let's take it back to the preseason. Last season, this team won 17 matches. They won the conference championship. They made it to the regional, lost to Leo in the championship match of that regional, where Leo went to the state finals for the second consecutive year. You, like many of the other players coming back on that team, had to fill the shoes of many players that graduated on that team, including Taylor Lewis in goal. Emily, when you look at where this season was had at the beginning of the season, what made it about this season that made it special?
I think all of our grit and determination to accomplish all of our goals really just like drove our team, and that's what made it really special for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Emily, on the season, your team is at a goal. You're at a goals against average of 2.231, so that's below 1 for those that don't understand math. You have 8 clean sheets, 9 wins on the season. What 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 do you like about being a goalkeeper for the Bellmont Braves?
I love being a goalie for them because everybody on the team just puts in so much effort to make sure that I have a good season and that we all have a good season. They make me look really good, but it's mostly my defensive line that helps me. But I really like the energy that the team provides for me.
Mm-hmm. And this is a team that's known for playing stout defense and making it easier for goalkeepers like you to get the job done. Your team actually started off to a slow start, as you would probably expect with the schedule, playing a pretty tough schedule at the beginning of the season with the lights of Homestead and whatnot. Your team was 0-2-1, I believe, and you've now won your last 12 matches. Obviously, the defense plays a role into this, but what are some other factors that played into the success of this team up to this point?
Um, I think a lot of it is our coaching. We've been working really hard and we've set clear goals that we've wanted to accomplish all year. And every time we get a step closer to accomplishing those goals, I think it pushes us further to get further where we want to go.
You mentioned coaching multiple times in this interview so far. Steve Lee, the head coach of the Bellmont Braves, he's been there for quite some time with a lot of success at Bellmont. Talk about your relationship with Coach Lee and how he has helped you instill your confidence and bring the team culture to where it is today?
Ever since I was in 8th grade, Steve has been looking at me and he's been talking to me, and he's really sprouted my confidence because he knew what I had the potential to be, and he helped me achieve those goals within practices and within the energy of the team. He really helps make sure everybody gets to where they need to be.
Talk about the seniors at Belmont. Obviously, one of them is being Gwen Laurent, who was one of the returning players on that starting roster from last year. Talk about what the seniors have brought to this Belmont team in 2024.
This year's seniors have brought so much energy and grit. They are our foundation for where we have been needing to go. Our captains are phenomenal this year, and they really like make sure that we all have the passion and the energy and the grit to keep on going.
If there's one thing you can describe about the Belmont Braves in 2024, what's that one characteristic that makes this team unique, I guess, so to speak?
I think it would be our ability to wait. We don't really stress at all during the game. We play very calm, we play very collective, and we trust in ourselves and in each other that we'll get the goals off, that we'll get the shots off, and we trust each other as a team to do what we need to do.
Seems about right, especially with all those close matches. Patience is always a necessity for the Belmont Braves. Let's look at those last two conference games in particular that I want to talk about. The Leo matchup and then the Cal both end up being 1-0, 1-0 games, I should say. You obviously having clean sheets in both of those matchups. You actually had an 18 save clean sheet against Leo, which obviously Leo's a powerhouse, as you know. Take me through those two matchups and just how exciting it was to get those two wins, especially being able to clinch the conference outright.
It was such a liberating feeling because, like I said, we have worked towards this goal of winning conference all season, and just to have the feeling of being Leo, especially the Leo game, because it was such an emotional game because of what happened last year. So it was just such an emotional game, and being able to beat them, even if it was just 1-0, made it feel like we could accomplish anything. And then we went into that DeKalb game knowing we were going to win with the confidence that we could do what we needed to do and still come out on top. And I think that just put the wind beneath our wings and made us feel like we could do anything.
That's for sure. That's always a key confidence booster going into the post. You open sectional play at Norwell, a big rival for the Belmont folks, and you drew New Haven the first round of sectionals. On paper, it could be your team against Norwell once again for a sectional championship on paper, and that's theoretically. We'll never know until that happens, but for your team to have a chance to get back to regionals, what's going to be some keys to continue that success?
I think our biggest thing is to keep cool about everything. We haven't won anything yet. We have to keep a level head and we have to start from ground zero. We can't have the mentality that we go into the game thinking we're going to win. Anybody can win at this point. It's a brand new season, and I think we just have to remember that as a team, and we will flourish.
Can you take me through some of your most memorable moments so far as a Brave?
My most memorable moments would probably actually be the Leo game this season. Just being able to be out on the field with that team and contributing to such a big win and an even bigger goal, the conference title. I think that was my most memorable thing because it just made me feel like I was part of the team.
Mm-hmm. Last question for me, Emily. What would it mean for your team to potentially, and again, we don't know if it's coming yet or not, but if you were to be in a situation to go to IU Indianapolis for the state championship, how cool would that be?
That would be phenomenal. That is our biggest goal that we're trying to achieve right now. And I really hope it works out because that would do a lot for our program and for our team. It would ensure more confidence in us. And yeah, I think it would just be a fantastic goal to achieve.
All right. That is Emily Barton, the goalkeeper of the Bellmont Lady Braves. Emily, any final thoughts before we let you go?
Nope.
I am guessing you have no other final thoughts. Emily, thank you for taking your time to talk with the Braves, and good luck.
Thank you.
In postseason play.
Thank you.
I'm here with the quarterback and defensive back of the East Snowball Knights football team, Rylee Biddle. Rylee, good evening. How are you doing this evening?
Good evening. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing awesome. Rylee, about this season, let's talk about the transition from last year to this year. Obviously, last season didn't go exactly as planned after sharing the conference championship with Leo New Haven. You lost to Leo, who went to semi-state. Luke Amstutz, who was your previous coach, took the AD position, and then Alex Stewart comes in from Western. Talk about that transition from Amstutz to Stewart, and how has he been welcomed to the East Noble program?
It was definitely a big change, for a lot of the guys at the high school right now. It's been Luke Amstutz our whole lives at the high school, and that's what we're used to. So it was definitely different. There was some talk going around, but Stewart, he came in and he really connected with all of us. Great. And we got along with him, and he's implemented his stuff. He's kept some things the same, and it's all worked out great.
Talk about your transition as well. Just last year, you was mainly playing mainly just defense last year at defense back, which you do a very good job, by the way. You filled in that quarterback position where Xander Brazel filled last season. Now you're the starting quarterback. How has that transition been so far for you?
It's been great. Xander was a great guy to be under. We were battling every day, and he was a great guy. I could always get advice from him, and he taught me a lot. And he's even reached out to me this season, just calming me down, helping me through some things, and that's really been important to me. But yeah, I was trying to get into the quarterback room my freshman and sophomore year, trying to get some playing time on Friday nights, and it just didn't go as planned. But I was able to be a great defensive back for the team, and that's what's most important to me is just, benefiting the team as much as I can wherever I'm at.
Is there a preference that you like to play more, or is it just about doing whatever it takes?
I mean, obviously, I'm a quarterback. I love playing quarterback, but hitting people's fun. I love going to hit people. It's what I did as a little kid. So I always got a love for the defensive side of the ball.
And defense is something East Noble's been known for several years now, and that's been the reason why you are in position of winning a conference championship outright. Rylee, obviously, you returned a lot on that team last season. So you got Logan Haddon back, and AD's bad. You got all these guys back on the East Noble. Talk about the East Noble defense and why they put so much there's so much emphasis on being such a great defensive team.
I mean, I mentioned it after the game Friday night. Ryan Robertson plays a huge part of that, and his assistants, Zach Aldridge and Coach Brian. They all come together and they get us locked in, ready to go. And they always have a great game plan. And they're going to put us in the right spot, and they trust us to go out and make the plays. And that's what we do. We all play together. We play for each other. And that's what you got to do to win football games.
Where you compared to where you are the first couple of weeks to now, obviously the first couple of weeks, your team's trying to get settled into Alex Stewart's system with some mistakes here and there against Bremen and Snyder, Huntington North and whatnot. Where has the team seen the growth this year from the beginning to where you are right now?
I mean, I think the most growth has been communication, just getting that family bond. I think that was a problem last year, and why we struggled a little bit more than what we should have is just we weren't as close-knit and tight as what a football team should be. And even at the start of this year, you saw it at times, miscommunication, stuff like that. I think that's what we've really harped on, and that's what's brought us together and is really what's clicking for us right now, is just those family ties.
Mm-hmm. There are two games I want to look into because I think this is a highlight of where East Noble's at. First off, the Leo game. That was a game full of a lot of highs and lows in that game. You actually start off by turning the ball over to Leo. They were marching the other end, and Haddon gets that 90-yard return for a score. Dylan Krell had a monster game. You played well, throwing for over 200 yards in that game. Swatter was great. Trish was great as well. How great did it feel to win that football game against Leo, a team that you haven't beaten in a while, and doing so at their field in front of that crowd, knowing what happened last year?
Yeah. For the senior class, it was definitely huge. They've lost to those guys every single game throughout their high school career. But the main thing is that loss last postseason was in all of our minds and the back of our head, especially the defense. The defensive side was our reason we lost that game, and it was in our back of the mind. And when we came in, we were ready to go. We wanted to take it to them, and that's exactly what we did.
Mm-hmm. And then Columbia City was just last Friday, and this was a game where your team just took off from the very beginning. Again, defense was a highlight of that game. Richie had that interception to really set the tempo of that game. And Jordan Borders doesn't get a lot of opportunities, but when he does, he's Mr. Smooth Hands when he gets the football. And he's got 3 touchdowns and 4 receptions this year. Yep. Just talk about that game in general. Just how, this is a Columbia City team that was averaging 50 points a game coming into this game. They're having one of the best seasons they've ever had. What brought you to such a dominant success in that game?
We knew they could put up 50 on us too, and we were preparing for that. And the main thing was we look back on last year and we did the exact same thing to them last year. We got up on them 14-0, and there was no looking back from there. And, that turnover by Kobe was huge, put up points right away, put up points again, got up 14-0. And right from there, we had all the confidence we needed, and there's no looking back.
Mm-hmm. When you look at the senior class as a whole for East Noble, they've been with this program for quite some time. A lot of success at East Noble. Even during that 1 year where they had a rebuilding season, whatnot, the culture was still kind of there in some sense or form over the years. Talk about what these seniors mean to you and for the program in Kendallville.
These seniors to me are huge. I've grown up with them playing sports. I'm very close to a lot of the guys, and they're great leaders, and they're gonna push you every single day, and they're pushing themselves every single day as well. And it's just great to look at them, especially as the younger guys, not even myself, but the sophomore and freshmen. They're looking at these guys, and they're setting the tone for them. They know what's expected of them, and that's just the most important thing.
This is Rylee Biddle, the quarterback and defensive back for the East Snowball Knights in his junior year at East Snowball. You're also a wrestler on the East Snowball team, and wrestling's had success over the years in Kendallville as well. When you look at role models and people you've looked up to that's helped you where you're at today, who are some people that you would like to give a shout out to?
I'd say a few shout outs would go to Coach Durnell. I've had some talks with him quite a bit, some deep talks, and he's always been there for me in my corner. Luke Amstutz, he's been there for me in my corner as well. He's a great role model for anybody. He's always going to give you the best advice. And out of school wise, I'd say my grandpa. He's always been a motivator for me, just pushing for him. That's someone I really look up to.
Mm-hmm. Looking ahead to the next couple weeks, you have New Haven and Bellmont to wrap up the regular season. You got a draw coming up next Sunday in a very difficult 4A sectional. Obviously, conference championships still in the balance, regardless of who you're playing. But as you prepare for these final few weeks of the regular season, whatnot, what does the team need to continue to do in order to be best prepared for the playoffs?
I mean, there's no taking any games lightly, and that's obviously something we harp over here at East Noble every single Friday night. We're going to give you our all, and it don't matter whether you're 6-0 or 0-6. So we're going to keep it on these next 2 weeks leading into the sectionals. Like you said, it's a hard sectional, so that's exactly what we have to do. We have to keep the momentum up and just stay focused, know who we're going to see in those sectional games, and just we got to come out ready to go. It's going to be a fun sectional. I'm ready to win it.
All right, a couple more questions here. So I'll go in and state this question. We know East Noble, what they are on the field. We know they're one of the best teams out there, dominant defense, whatnot. Talk about East Noble away from the stats and away from the game. What is it like being around these guys every day?
Our team, like I said, we've gotten very close. And in school, it's great. I like it being a smaller school. I get to see all my guys throughout the day and whatnot. That's great. And just outside of school as well, we all are trying to hang out. We're all seeing each other, getting together, and that's what you need. That's what you got to have in a football team.
Last question from me, Rylee. This program has not won a sectional championship since 2020. They went to state back in 2019. I believe you was probably in early middle school at that time. So it's not far. Like, how much would it mean for East Noble to have a chance to even get to Thanksgiving? I know it's a long ways away. We don't want to dream it too much, but how much would it mean how much would you want to go back to that stage again?
I mean, for sure, we all want to go back, and that's definitely the expectation, and that's where the bar is set right now for us. We know we have that potential to make it there and play during Thanksgiving, and that's honestly what we've been looking at since the spring. We know we have that potential. We just got to put it all together, and we can make it there most definitely. I don't think there's any doubt.
All right. This is Rylee Biddle of East Noble. Final questions before we let you go.
I do not. Thank you for having me. It was a great talk.
All right. Thank you, Rylee, for talking about East Noble football. Good luck as you travel to New Haven to clinch an NEA championship potentially.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, that's going to do it for episode 11 of the ANEC Sports Podcast. I want to give thanks to our two guests today, Emily Barton, the goalkeeper of Bellmont, Rylee Biddle, the quarterback and defensive back of East Noble, as they spoke about their teams and their success up to this point. As Emily's team gets ready for the state tournament this week, Rylee, Biddle, and Easton will look to wrap up the NE8 championship before they get ready for their own state tournament as well. And by the way, first practices for girls basketball, they begin on October 15th. Literally 1 week from Tuesday will be the first official practices. And we will bring in some folks on the girls basketball scene as we get ready for a brand new season on the hardwood. All right. That's going to do it for another episode of the ANEC Sports Podcast. My name is Sam Frick. So long. Thank you for watching the ANEC Sports Podcast. Please like this video and like the page ANEC Sports on YouTube. Let people know that the ANEC Sports is on YouTube. Also like our Facebook page at Around the Northeast Corner and follow either Around the Northeast Corner and Sam Frick on Twitter/X. We're also on Instagram as well. Just look for ANEC Sports or Around the Northeast Corner and you will find us there. You can also follow the man himself, Sam Frick, the founder and editor at Around the Northeast Corner, for other additional content. This has been an Around the Northeast Corner presentation.